Hello. Welcome to today's lunchtime chat for EPCs and system integrators, where we'll be introducing ABB's adaptive execution and ABB integrated project execution model. My name is Crystal Futter, and I am the Marketing Communications Manager for ABB's Energy Industries Division, and will be the host for the entire mini-series. Due to the number of attendees, everyone's microphones have been muted. However, if you have one or many questions, please do enter them in the Q&A box that you'll find on the lower right-hand side of your monitor. They will all be addressed at the end of the presentation. If you missed part of today's webinar or would like to share it with a colleague, we are recording the session, and we'll make it available on our Exploring New Possibilities and EPC mini-series webpage. I'll share the link in the chat box so that you can bookmark it to register for future sessions and also to watch on-demand recordings. And now, Sri Srinivasan, our Senior Director for Global Operations, ABB Adaptive Execution Center for Energy Industries, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Crystal. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to ABB's EPC mini-series on adaptive execution. So this is a very important and a key topic today in ABB, and we would like to share our experience and our plan of adaptive execution with you all today. With that, just kind of introducing myself here, Sri Srinivasan. I'm here with ABB Houston. I'm part of IA Energy Division, leading the adaptive execution program. In fact, as an adaptive execution center, which is a functional organization in ABB IA Energy today, which is looking into this program and developing the initiative. I have been managing and delivering projects in the field of industrial automation for process industries across oil and gas, chemical refineries for more than 2 decades. As a technical manager, I have been providing expertise on areas of process control, functional safety management, cybersecurity, system integration, cloud, virtualization are some of my areas of interest. And my current area of interest is to see how we could help customers to achieve increased safety, greater operational efficiencies, productivity improvements using digital technologies, digital transformation, and realize an overall digital project execution transformation. So that's my interest, and that's actually keeps me excited to work here in ABB and bring this adaptive execution program to you all today. Now, as part of this program or as part of this initiative within ABB, the value proposition or the 3 main key pointers which we would like to present is on how adaptive execution would help us to meet avoid the project risks, make sure that we bring in the required capex savings, and ensure that the schedule improvements are seen to meet the industry growth objectives. As a new agile capital projects operating model can help us build the competitive agility to achieve both the goals. So equally important, the new model can help rebuild the trust with our investors, thereby fueling growth to the industry trends. So that's what we would expect and see through this mission of the adaptive execution program. Now, we have seen this last year or so as being a year of little bit of disruptions from starting with the global pandemic, drop in oil prices, the demand for sustainable energy. So in the wake of crisis, it's a question of how do we remain competitive and emerge stronger while preserving business continuity. How do we enable the people, process, and technology for more reliable project execution? And we often are being struggling with our reactive behaviors for disruptions happening around, and hence, having issues of cost overrun and schedule delays in some of the capital projects what we are seeing in the past. With the digital transformation going around, and it's time for us to reimagine, reinvent the project execution model, and take collaboration to the next level. And hence, ABB has invested in this program of adaptive execution. Now, to set the stage, let's see kind of what have been the challenges on the capital project scene of the projects of large, complex nature, and how these challenges are making it difficult for today's project execution teams, and what ABB would like to address in that sense, and how innovative we have been in incorporating certain best practices and agile execution methodologies into our program. Now, the complexity and unforeseen events, which starting from the global disruptions we see from a project standpoint affecting our supply chain, resource availability, meeting up to the supply and demand markets, having production overruns, and fluctuating commodity prices. All these are factors which typically we do see, which affect the capital project today. The energy industries has been growing, but at the same time has seen the volatility and the frequency of the volatility is been increasing. And some of these factors that disrupts project execution is what we just saw here, could be more unpredictable and unforeseen impacts could happen with even the situation with the COVID, and it challenges us to be remaining on the status quo in many aspects. Hence, we need to evade through this headwind, and it gives us an opportunity to adapt and be prepared for the future. Now, with all these external influences, the project itself faces this challenge, and the project management has a new demand. As a project manager today, we have to manage the multiple interfaces with managing the finance, ensuring that we provide a reliable solution, making sure that our eyes and focus is on the CapEx at all the time, and with the mandatory needs on HSE, safety, cybersecurity, risks which are there. And hence, this requires a more upskill for project management, and make sure that the project management has all its vision 360 degree to manage overall complexity when it comes to challenging projects today. With these challenges, what historically we have seen through the capital projects is that the dependencies on automation across from multiple disciplines is pretty heavy. The design input maturization happens throughout the project life cycle, and design information management and the late change management is one of the key things, along with interface management, which is with the multiple stakeholders, with the multiple EPCs and package vendors together, working as a team and making sure that the integration of the systems happen at the right time. All these challenges has been predominantly putting automation in a critical path in the last 2 decades. And now with these existing historical challenges, we also see some new challenges which is coming, like with the modular construction, where we have packages and process modules being built in different locations and need to have an ability to bring them together and integrate. And the aggressive schedule needs and trying to do things in parallel. Now, all this puts us the pressure of that we couldn't or we could not further follow the same traditional project execution model. And we have seen that in multiple research and white papers as how many percentage of projects have been having cost overruns and schedule delays, which is very, part of the process industry today. And all this challenges is what we considered when we looked into how we need to reform or reinvent our project execution strategy in ABB. Now, with adaptive execution, what ABB would like to deliver is an end-to-end solution, which is like a global project execution model, a framework that integrates expert teams, new technologies, agile processes, shared learnings, and proven methodologies into a single streamlined project execution experience for all the stakeholders involved in a major capital project. It also means that we need a just-in-time concept, or build to adapt rather than build to last, right? With the Industrial Revolution 4.0 happening around with the digital transformation, customers are looking for much streamlined, integrated, modular delivery of projects, which will help them to achieve their desired business improvement goals and sustainable development goals, right? Hence, as a project team, we need that ability to think and look around the corners, anticipate what's ahead, and seize every advantage to improve the CapEx and the ROI. And hence, at ABB, we have invested and we have come out to reform and relook as how we execute projects today, and adaptive execution is an answer to that. So it's a global optimized execution methodology, which kind of redefines our physical and digital deliveries or activities, what we do in a project today, and to be how we could be able to deliver consistent and in a standardized global project model, right? So ABB Adaptive Execution is designed and developed to deliver a unified platform approach across infrastructure, electrification, process control automation, that is all well tied together with ABB digital platform. We have committed to ourselves to develop and run adaptive execution as one of our main strategic initiatives, with specific investments looking for opportunities to enhance and strengthen our delivery model. So as we set our foot into this framework and trying to develop the overall mission of adaptive execution, we looked at, when it comes to capital project execution, we largely see, though price is the main driver, it's becoming critical for automation solution providers like us to influence the project at an early stage, right from offering the right technology solutions to get involved in the pre-feed, feed activities, and making sure we act as a good partner, as a stewardship to the EPCs, and give the right choice and right advice of selecting the solutions to help them proactively engage in simplifying and demonstrating our ability to manage the project's complexity and uncertainty with a good level of confidence. Hence, it's very critical for us to make sure we address all the three aspects of expectations in a capital project today. So right from the total cost of ownership to the influencing ability to how we could bring in that competitive advantage of putting the people, process, and technology together and making sure that we deliver in a consistent manner, right? And all this is what led us as ABB to look into streamlining and reforming our execution approach from a traditional waterfall model to an agile adaptive model, with a focus on value impact and integrating solution or a platform approach rather than just looking at specific technology or a silo-based system approach. Needed a well-established global project execution model that is really equipped with the right set of enablers, which will help us to thrive on change, learn from the discovery, and be client-focused, right? And that's adaptive execution. So this laid the foundation, and as we earmarked into that framework, we wanted to categorize and bring in those enablers which would help in project execution today. And when we looked at the overall execution, scope and the strategy of how we plan and deliver projects today, we kind of looked into four focus areas: technology, methodology, infrastructure, and the capability aspects. And what we intend to do with each of these focus areas is to try to see how well we could modularize and standardize our technology, which is our product and solutions, how well we could simplify and make our workflows flexible. That's part of the methodology element. How well we could integrate all our tools and infrastructure, which we use in day-to-day life in projects, to be more collaborative, not within ABB, but also across with our EPCs, end users, third-party vendors, suppliers. We could collaborate together and then build in the overall integration and adaptive skills with our people, right? So we are addressing enablers across all these four focus areas so that we could deliver the committed PVI, what we call as the project value improvement factors, which is the efficiency, to be effective, to be collaborative, and be agile, right? And that led us towards identifying key enablers across those four pillars, which, some of it we have been presenting in this EPC mini series, and some of it we could have a more one-on-one session with you all where we could take a deep dive to see some of these key enablers. And we have also developed a very detailed execution swim lane, which talks about how these four enablers from these four focus areas would help us to achieve the required cost reduction, be more efficient in reducing the man hours, being able to decouple the hardware and software development, and being able to integrate at the late stage, making sure from the late binding all the way to startup and commissioning stage. So we have a set of enablers on each of these focus areas, which we could talk and present about, as part of adaptive execution. Now, how do we enable this change? When you talk about the four pillars from the technology, the methodology, infrastructure, and capability, as I said, right now, as ABB IA Energy Division, we are orchestrating and arranging a set of enablers across each of these focus areas and building the tools and procedures and guidelines across which project teams need not spend their time and project man hours to go in and investigate and search for information or do proof of concepts, rather to reuse or use the existing standards and methodologies, best practices, which the adaptive execution framework would offer today for projects to be more agile and more adaptive to the change what's happening in the project. Now, with the technology, we are focusing through standardization, modularization, and virtualization. That leads to the efficiency factor. With the methodology, we are focusing through simplification and flexible workflows and having standardized project engineering documents available right from the day one of the start of the project, so that it's just required for you to take out the standard functional design specification documents on any of the scope and just try to compare and align to the project requirements, so that it's not started from a fresh sheet of paper, but those functional design documents exist for these technologies as a proven best practice. With respect to infrastructure, we are looking into digitization of all our internal work processes, whether it's not starting from supply chain to procurement to the logistics to the project management tools, where the resource management, schedule, and reporting could be done in a more collaborative manner, in a form of a digital, where we could work across ABB units with our high-value engineering centers and with our stakeholders and EPCs more in a transparent and efficient manner. And at last, we are looking at how we could build the capability aspect of getting our central of, the center of excellence and expertise across ABB, irrespective of the scope and the requirement. We would be able to identify the right resource at the right location and bring that person in to contribute in a project. And being sure that our project teams are agile enabled. So they have been given enough training on agile principles and agile project management tools and methodologies, So all these are focus areas for us where we are investing a lot and improvising to make sure that we address all the concerns and issues as how EPCs would see us as a good partner, right from through the define or design stage all the way to the startup and commissioning to the operate phase. Now, one such example or enabler is when you talk about, with the post-COVID situation when most of us are going to be working from home or remote, and it's going to be a real challenge to have review meetings and collaborative meetings in a physical place where we could meet up together and go through the collaboration effort, which now we could do it in a digital form, like with the collaboration tools available today with Zoom and Microsoft Teams and communication collaboration portal. So we are also building a real cloud-based, public cloud-based infrastructure where not only we will be able to use Office collaboration tools, we would be able to interface with document management systems. We should be able to manage with integrated project management systems. We also looking at hosting our entire control system platform, 800XA system, onto a true cloud where we could bring in our local ABB project team, our high-value engineering centers, and EPCs and third-party vendors to collaborate right from the design stage, not just for the FAT, but right from the design stage, we would be able to review documentation, design, conduct workshops, demonstrate applications, and get your feedback and reviews upfront during the design stage as we validate our typicals and then go in for actually generating a process module. So a cloud is going to be the way we are going to work in future. And we wanted to extend it throughout the project life cycle and not just use it for remote FATs or just for the testing phase. And we wanted to extend it all the way up to commissioning so that with the digital simulation tools and with the ability for us to host our control system platform, all our applications on the cloud would be available so that depending on the scope, we could provision these cloud platforms and we would be able to execute projects more streamlined, cutting down a lot of our travel costs and also use the 24/7 life cycle, timing advantage when, one part of the world goes on the day, we have another part on the night resting and, the teams can work on a 24/7, 365 days cycle. So you're looking at really compressing the schedule and making sure that we are having day-to-day review sessions and meetings with our EPCs and stakeholders. So there's a lot as an enabler, a cloud deployment, which would lead us to go and see as a value in the future as we go. Now, as I said, adaptive execution is not just as a focus only during the execute phase. We would like to extend this both, or I would like to say, like we want to shift it towards right and shift it towards left, so that we cover adaptive execution more as an end-to-end solution, starting from pre-feed, feed, or feasibility study, where we could go in and help you to identify the right solution sets, whether it's ABB portfolio or whether it's our partner portfolio or even a third-party portfolio as your preference or your approved vendor list would go. We would bring in those aspects, and we would like to act as a global or a central, single point of ownership, managing the overall project risk on behalf of yourself and lead the delivery of the entire project right from the define stage into the execute and then to the operate phase. Now, in the define stage is where the pre-feed feed activities are going on, where we could come in a typical MAC scenario as a main automation contract or main instrument control contract, where we typically have the scope of PCS, SAS, fire and gas, OTS, cybersecurity solutions. We could also look in as from the electrical aspects, because that's another one of the key strengths as ABB we have is to bring in the electrical control and telecom as our common infrastructure systems having a common automation platform, right? So those are integration value adds which ABB could bring in to the plate. And with a typical ICS's scope, we would be able to manage it as an overall automation, acting as a single point of responsibility, helping EPCs to identify the risks and address all the integration issues upfront rather than wait till the last moment to have things come up to the site and then figure out how we are going to integrate or interface things and look at the data structures, look at interfacing various systems. So there's a lot of investment we are right now looking into see how we could start early on integrating with some of the EPC systems, like starting from your SPI in tools integration all the way up to smart completion integration, and address those value gaps so that at the defined stage is a time where even if you have another vendor solution which needs to get integrated with ABB platform, we address those value gaps upfront, right? So looking at a fully integrated scope is it's in our sweet spot, which we do well as with a lot of experience with electrical telecom controls integration, and looking at from a total cost of ownership and making sure that the end user gets a more return on investment, not just from the capex, but also being able to see that efficiency come passed on to the opex, so that they feel comfortable in managing and throughout the entire infrastructure and systems in the life cycle services phase. So with all that, enablers which can help us to achieve during the define phase, as we get into the execute phases, where we have those set of tools, technologies, methodology, work process streamlined, which helps us to decouple, remove interdependencies, and make sure that we could work on certain areas in a very agile, iterative manner with distributed teams being able to collaborate on single cloud. And then we use the technology and tools which we have today with extreme engineering, with Select.io, runtime virtualization, smart commissioning tools. We would be able to integrate those pieces together as, again, a final integrated solution with ability to make sure that we have tracking the quality and making sure the late changes are incorporated, and with proper change management. That's one of the key things which we are trying to incorporate as part within the systems, within the technology and methodology, so that it's inherent that change management is part of all this technologies and tools and work process methodology improvements which we have today. So in net, the goal is to make sure that we are cost efficient and we are being able to address the value impact in a much broader sense, so that as we get into delivering the projects on time and to remove the entire automation out of it being a critical path, right? And as we finish a project, we also want to have our eyes over the life cycle aspect of the facility, right? So the customers have a huge investment in billions of dollars when they build a facility, and they would like to make sure that we are able to have a predictive maintenance. We give them a secured system and all the required optimization and data analytics tools which will help them to manage the supply and demand cycle is given to them, and for which we have ABB Ability, the digital platform, which kind of overlays over our base scope, which nicely is integratable, and it's more like a plug and play when you have the ABB's digital solution sitting over the 800XA system, so that it gathers the relevant data in a required form, where you don't need to have any engineering effort to map the data or to structure the data accordingly to pass on information to any optimization or enterprise level systems, so that there's a seamless integration by which the EPCs and end users will be able to develop any optimization or operational excellence solutions as part of the same platform, rather than looking at it as a separate technology and a separate solution set. it's well integrated, and adaptive would help right from the defined stage to address some of this, though it may not be part of initial capex scope, right? So these are some of the aspects as how we could extend adaptive execution across from define to execute operate phase, and the net result what we would like to deliver in terms of the commitment to the capex is where we are seeing we could achieve a tremendous amount of capex savings by eliminating certain work processes which is automated. We have a zero-based engineering effect on some of the technology elements, like with the Select IO. We have an ability now to standardize our Select IO remote junction box, which completely takes away your engineering man-hours, your documentation review cycle, so that as long as we know the number of IOs which we need on a Select junction box, you just name them, and we start manufacturing and ship them straight to your module yard or to your process yard, where the actual Select IO junction box could get mechanically completed with the IO or the process modules before even the process module arrives at the facility, at the physical site. And we have started executing projects like that. We have proven track records of implementing these technologies, and customers are seeing those efficiency improvements as part of the CapEx, and seeing a schedule compression and also a reduction in the startup and commissioning manner. So this is with all these challenges, what we are seeing, and a need for a faster schedule to deliver complex projects, having the right tools, the right enablers, which helps us to overcome those risks, and being able to be adaptable. The project team is working through a digital framework and digital systems, which helps them to not spend much of their time on Excel spreadsheets and silo-based tools, rather than to have an integrated system approach, would help us to deliver that superior quality, with simplifying the interfaces and using the cloud and virtualized environment. So there is a more to achieve with less effort with adaptive execution, and what we like to present that as an overall project life cycle delivery model, where right from the digital project as a delivery phase to go into the life cycle phase to give the predictability, and then to make sure that the facility operates and runs with a sustainability factor in its mind. So it's more using the digital way of executing to transform our current project execution models, pockets of which has been following the traditional waterfall model, to move into this agile adaptive model, where we could build in that end-to-end value chain, from capex to the opex aspect of it. So this delivery model, in net, is what we would like to see as a fundamental shift to build the right foundation. It's more towards as how when we rolled out and launched adaptive execution, it's more like how the nature adapts to things happening around. Organisms adapt. The ability to adapt is key to its ability to survive. So we brought in those elements, from the honeybees referring to efficiency, to the dolphins referring to the effectiveness, to the hummingbird, to the agility, to the ants, the way they collaborate, and with the chameleons having that 360-degree vision. So the elements of these, what we can learn from nature as how adaptive we should be, is what the project execution model with adaptive execution we are trying to bring in. We are, as I said, investing a lot into this as IA Energy Division within ABB, making sure that our strengths are captured in a well best practice manner, and capture it in a knowledge set which projects can leverage through the adaptive execution model. As I said, we have more detailed deliverables on each of those enabler sets, We have also developed a detailed project execution plan. We have a detailed project execution swim lane, which we could use in some of our one-on-one sessions with you all to walk you down and represent, and to also be adaptable to some of your workflows. Now, that's one of the things which we would like to say, that with adaptive, it's not that you as EPCs have to strictly follow our work processes and our methodologies. We would like to make sure that there is an alignment towards your internal work process and methodologies as how you would like to deliver and work to your end user. So there's a proper alignment and adaptable alignment with the EPCs. And that's exactly what we are doing with some of the EPCs, where we are going in, having one-on-one workshops to understand their need, and then probably, tweaking our execution swim lanes, which is like a Lego block. You just move the blocks around depending on the need of the project or the complexity and the scope, and then come up with a project execution charter, which is made right up front in the project, and all the stakeholders in the project have a clear visibility on the charter, on the execution swim lane. So each one of us then would be able to contribute, knowing what part I am playing in a project, rather than having that in a secret document within a max scope. We would like to make it a more collaborative framework by which EPCs take ownership of trying to have all the suppliers and package vendors to work through the same framework. So that's, with adaptive execution, where we are today, and we have a lot of collaterals and materials available on our ABB website. So I would really welcome you all to go in and browse through some of those. You could just Google up adaptive execution, and we have also have quite a few podcast series published in YouTube. So I would also invite you all to go in and listen to some of those podcasts. And if you have interest and you want to have a more detailed workshop, one-on-one sessions, we are available here, and you could reach up to me or reach up to your local account managers, and we could set up a dedicated separate session. So thank you all for your time. I think I probably took a lot of my time, but thank you. And if any questions, Crystal, probably we can take that.
Absolutely. So thank you, Sri, for the enlightening presentation.
Yeah.
If I may, before we go to Q&A, I would just like to share with our attendees the exciting lineup that we have for our lunchtime chats that will be taking place in January. You see here on the screen, we have a little pause for the holidays, and then we will start back on January 12th. All webinars take place on Tuesdays at 11:30 Eastern and again at 11:30 Pacific. And if you're interested in any of the three topics that you see on the screen, you can go ahead and sign up on the web page that I put in the chat box. And now we will go over to our questions. I see one here. It says, what type of projects today need adaptive approach and why?
So, again, as I said, adaptive project management is not something new. This is one of a principle or methodology as part of agile project management. And we know, in most of the organizations today, there is a transformation of trying to make either the organization more agile and make sure that the functions within the delivery organizations are able to work in an agile manner, right from research and development all the way to the delivery organization. So we wanted to capture that essence of agile project management, and one aspect of that is adaptive project management, which looks in for whenever there is a project or which is both internal or an external project, where we know that there is a requirements which are moving from a kind of a low uncertainty to a higher uncertainty, or with projects having more technical complexity. Having a traditional model of waterfall would always tend up to have a lot of rework, and change management becomes a nightmare, and partners or on people involved as the stakeholders end up in discussing the contracting issues on managing a project. Rather, if we have the right technology enablers, which would allow us to integrate late design information and still be adaptable to the way how design informations mature, or how the requirements uncertainty gets clarified over a period of time. That is as per even the books of Agile Principle or Practice Guide by PMI shows that it's better to practice and use adaptive project management in those type of complex projects. So again, it's proven in the industry across aerospace, software industries, and other various industries, which is also catching up now in the energy industry, that we bring in that agile principles and agile concepts into our project management framework, and adaptive is one such framework, is what ABB is trying to capitalize. And now we are reinventing and reinvesting into streamlining our technology, methodology, infrastructure, and capability to meet to that framework.
Perfect. Thank you, Sri.
Yeah.
Another question that came in was, what new technologies are used in the adaptive execution?
Yep. Yeah. So, that are being, we as part of even this EPC mini series, we are addressing some of those technology enablers. We had one, last week with Roy Tanner talking about the Select IO and extreme engineering. Now that's one of the key technology enabler, which is, going to help us in this adaptive journey. Along with that, we are also working on smart commissioning, technologies with being able to do the, able to have the Select IO scan through and auto detect, interrogate, configure, enable, and document a complete Select IO configuration. So we are trying to implement that as one of the technology enablers. We also have, virtualization, which helps us to reduce the number of physical servers and PCs, which a typical system architecture would have. We also looking into smart completion integration, as how we have used eBase as our one of our central database to integrate IO information right from SPI in tools all the way to the startup commissioning, and integrate that with the smart completion as an as-built. So we are looking complete from an end-to-end interface touch points with EPCs and package vendors, and looking at those aspects as how we could build into our products and solutions with the right technology. So that's exactly, and we have many more, including IEC 61850, the electrical integration aspect, our third-party PLC integration, which has set of tools and technology which we have, which is going to be addressed in one of the sessions in the next coming sessions. So we have a slew of technology enablers which we have developed and already implemented, and we are working through some more additional technology enablers which we could talk in more detail and present to you some of the use cases and see if we could also co-innovate with you all, as a partner, and we are ready to invest in co-innovating and developing some of the solution sets.
Thank you, Sri. I don't see any other questions, and just in lieu of the time here, on behalf of ABB, I'm just going to thank you for spending your lunch with us today. At the close of the event, you will be prompted to complete a short survey. And your feedback is important to us, so please take the time to answer I think it's 2 or 3 questions. And we would like to wish you a happy, safe holiday and a healthy new year. And thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you all.
Bye.